happy to be here. I grew up in Northern California to Mexican parents, and I have 10 brothers and sisters, so just a few more than you. I'm number 9 of 11, 8 girls and 3 boys, and it was an interesting upbringing. It was very interesting. I didn't grow up with parents like Serena's. My dad was very much into positive thinking and would be like, you can do anything, you can do anything. He took me to Silva Mind Control when I was like 10 years old. Go learn how to meditate and to get myself into an alpha state and manifest whatever I wanted. But like that, like it kind of went over my head. And then as the years went on, one of the things that was a big struggle for me in the beginning of my life was my weight. And my mom, being pregnant and losing weight, losing weight, she was very interested in always having her body look right? Look right. She thought that was really important. And so I grew up, I was a little chubby when I was little, and they would always call me the chubby one. And then I started getting chubbier and chubbier, and then I remember being on a diet in 3rd grade. And then my mom taking me to diet doctors for like getting injections of cow's urine in your body, and not diet pills, but I would steal my mom's diet pills. So this was my whole upbringing. It was like diets and diets and diets. So I really, at a very young age, realized this is not good. This is not lovable. At 3rd grade, I'm on the scale, and they gasped. Like, it was like heartbreaking, right? You can feel it. And if I go there, I can feel it, and I like to feel that. I like to go in there and feel it and get it. Like the things that get impressed upon us so early. It's like Serena was talking about. So for the rest of my life, and for many years, my struggle was, how do I make this lovable? How do I be lovable? I obviously have to be thin. That's right. I obviously have to be thin, and I'm not there yet. So in fact, I got heavier and heavier and heavier. And then I was about 212 pounds when I was in 8th grade. Just felt very uncomfortable in my body. And I found aerobics. I started teaching jazzercise, and I was like, this is it. This is my life savior. I loved it. It was self-expression. It was dance. It was movement. It was all the things that I loved to do. And I started to do that, and I started to get really popular really fast. I was really strong, and I started to lose weight, and I felt good, and people started to pack into my classes, and I'm like, yeah, obviously, I lost weight. Things are happening. And then I started to go extreme because I never dealt with my food. So then I never dealt with my food, so I started binging and purging. And I started exercising 8 hours a day. And it was just this constant, like, I'm not lovable, I have to lose weight. I'm not lovable, I have to lose weight. I have to fix myself, I have to fix myself. So any means was legal. It didn't matter. It didn't matter if it was sustainable. It didn't matter if I should do it. I was doing crystal meth. I was doing everything. If it was something that would make me not eat, I would do it, and I didn't care. I didn't care. It was life or death. But I was getting more depressed, and I wasn't thin. Because of being bulimic, your weight goes up and down, you get depressed, you don't have any control, you hide, you make yourself, you don't want to talk to anybody because you're hiding a secret. And not only the secret of the drugs and the bulimia and the self-hatred, but here I am, a fitness professional. I'm traveling all over the world. I'm doing an aerobics competitions. I have a television show. I'm doing DVDs. I'm on the covers of magazines. I'm it. I am saying I am fitness maven. And I have this whole backstory that is so not right. And then I'm at this, I'm on a TV show, and I get really thin to get on the TV show, and it's a regular morning show, and I have a workout every morning. But as usual, I can't hold my weight at a nice weight because nothing's sustainable, right? So I would binge, I would purge, I would do drugs, I would work out excessively. Then you just lose it at some point because you're going against something. right? It's not sustainable. So then I would gain weight. And then I was in this point where I had gained weight, and the executive producer calls me into the office. And he says, what's up? You know, he's very sweet, and like he didn't want to do the conversation, but like, why are you gaining weight? It was like the nightmare of my life. It was a nightmare. It was so embarrassing. It was like, it was on TV. It wasn't even like I was just in this man's office. I'd been on TV. I mean, obviously, then I had the running the story that everybody saw me, and then everybody must be talking about me getting fat, like the whole thing. It was like, you couldn't have, I would have rather died at that point. That's how embarrassing and like horrifying it was. But as we know, the deepest, darkest days are those days. That day had to happen because I was fooling myself and I was fooling everybody else, kind of. And so that moment of like looking into my eyes and me having to deal with like, here's my career that I love. This is what I want to be doing. This is what I love. I fell in love with this from day one. This is who I want to be. This is where I want to be. This is what I want to do. And I got to that point where I realized now I have a choice. I can't do it this way anymore. It's not right. It's not real. I'm a fraud. I'm unhappy. I'm unhealthy. I'm depressed. And here I am teaching people about exercise and food, and what's the disconnect? So I thought, you know what? I have to deal. It's time to deal. It's really time to deal because this is the field that I want to be in. And I thought, if I'm having this issue, I know other people must be having this issue. Not necessarily in that same way, maybe not drugs, maybe not bulimia, but sustainable change, lasting. It's like, who wants to be on a diet for their whole life? Who wants to be a slave to like trying to look good, fitting in, hoping I look better than him or better than her, or does she like me, or do I look good enough for this photo shoot or for that? That's being a slave. And I thought, I have to figure this out because this is not just for me. I have my family, I have sisters that are very overweight, dealing with these issues. And I thought, for them, I have to do it for me, I have to do it for them, I have to figure this out. And now is the time because there's no more fooling it. So I went to therapy and I went and got help and I went to 12-step programs and I read a lot of her dad's books, which I love. And I just started really asking and praying, said, what is missing here? What's missing? Obviously, it's not just diet and exercise. What's missing? What's missing? Tell me what's missing. I want to know what's the piece. What's the answer? How do we change? How do we change? I know all of these things. I know all of these stories. And I know I'm not the only one. I want to know what's the piece. And I just kept asking that question. And like I said, I read Wayne's books. And I read every book I could find. I studied with Wayne Dyer's guru. This was a funny story. He had written about a guru that taught him the meditations for manifesting. You know what I'm talking about, right? And I'm walking down the street, and there literally was like, I want to meet Wayne Dyer's guru. So I'm walking down the street, and I come out of 19th Street Equinox, and there's just a small piece of paper on the wall, just with writing on it. And I walk by, and then I stop, and I go, and I take the paper off, and I'm like, meet Wayne Dyer's guru? Come on. And it was literally around the corner at a church happening right now. No, I ran. I get into this church. Everybody's sitting down. There's this man sitting in a yoga gesture in the front. Everybody's quiet. I'm like, I don't know what the heck's going on here. I sit down, I swear, I felt like everybody had been waiting for me. I did, because as soon as I sat down, he opens his eyes. And the first thing he says is, you are what you think you are. And I just started bawling. Like, that's it. That's it. I think I'm fat. I think I'm unlovable. So no matter what diet I do, it's going against the self-concept of fat. Who's going to win? If my self-concept is fat and unlovable, but I'm dieting, the diet is trying to force against a self-concept of fat. You can't force a self-concept. The self-concept always wins. The self-concept is who you say you are. It's who you believe to be. It's your identity. It's everything you tell yourself about yourself. It's everything you believe about yourself. Your self-concept. Who are you? Everything you say after I am is your self-concept. So I'm fat. I'm unlovable. Let me go work out. I'm fat. I'm unlovable. I better diet. I'm fat. I'm unlovable. Let me work out 8 more hours. I'm fat. I'm fat. Run more. 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 What do you think's changing? Nothing. Nothing. How can it change? I'm fat, trying to lose weight. Therefore, no matter how much weight I lose, what's going to happen? I've got to go back to fat because that's who I am. I've got to go back to unlovable because that's who I am. You are what you think you are. And it just like, there was a moment of when I heard him say that. But it was so like through me. So again, like, okay, now what? And I am sitting down watching TV, and a thing comes on for Anthony Robbins. You know who Anthony Robbins is? He like all his tapes. I get all his tapes. I'm like, okay, maybe there's information in here. I listen to all his tapes. I sign up for his university. I go to the Fiji, I go to Denver, I walk on coals, I'm in Bahamas, and we're in this one thing where we're in the Bahamas and everybody's on the beach and we're marching on the beach. All I need is within me now. All I need is within me now. And I literally, again, it happens and I just go, oh my God, that's it. A workout with affirmations. Having people change literally, consciously their self-concept. Rewriting their self-concept, but with movement, because you've got to feel it, you've got to embody it, you've got to become it, you've got to be it. You can't just say, I'm going to lose weight so I can be thin. I am going to be lovable so I can be lovable. You have to be that. Now, if I combine affirmations, which is rewriting the script, rewriting the internal dialogue, rewriting the self-concept. But with exercise, you're rewriting the whole program. Because with exercise, you emotionalize. When you change your physiology, you change how you feel. When you change how you feel, you're changing. You have access to new thoughts. You have access to new ideas. So I thought, well, putting affirmations and exercise together, but with that conscious intention to rewrite how you program yourself, and then also being able to see that you can reprogram yourself, then you can now be the master of yourself, not the slave to your old conditioning. So then I created Intensati, which sati means mindfulness. It means be aware of your language, be aware of your intentions. Have conscious intentions that you can then back by action. Because if there's no action behind the intention, it's just a wish. It's a wish. If there's no action, there's no goal behind the intention, it's nothing really. So I wanted to create a practice because I'm reading these beautiful things. I'm reading these amazing books and all of this information and this wisdom. I was a yoga teacher. I'm getting all of these beautiful teachings from my teacher. But the question for me was, but how do I live it? How do I take it from the book into my every single day? How do I do that? How many of you read a book and been like, gosh, that's so good? And then you put it down and you're like, what would that say? I really wanted to do something like that, but I don't even remember what it says. So I created Intensati for me because I wanted to be able to stop struggling and stop hating and stop trying to be lovable and stop trying to be good enough and stop trying to like have the body that I thought I needed to have to do what I wanted to do. I just wanted to do what I wanted to do, and I wanted to make a difference, and I wanted to actually see if I could find a piece that would be helpful. that would help people really live in these ways that we all want to live. Who doesn't want to be happier? Who doesn't want to be healthier? Who doesn't want to be fitter? Who doesn't want to be in their body in a way that says, this is who I am, this is what I want to do, and then go do it. So that's why I created the tagline, live a life that you love in a body that you love. But remember one thing, the ingredient that has to be in that is love. You can't live a life you love by hating the life you have. You can't live in a body you love by hating the body you have. Doesn't that sound ridiculous? Does it sound, if you think about it? Really. Like, wisdom is simple. It's obvious. It's sometimes so simple that you think that must not be it. How can you be happy if you're miserable? Right? How can you be happy if you're freaking miserable? It's how you're being when you're doing what you're doing. It's not what you're doing. It's who you're being while you're doing what you're doing. And most of us don't realize we can alter our being. Like, that has to be the first thing. The first thing has to be, who am I being? Exactly what Serena said. When you wake up, you choose gratitude. You just say thankful. What does that feel like? Can I find that in me and feed the gratitude versus feeding the complaining? The complaining robs you of your life. It's toxic. It's toxic. It kills you. Complaining, gossiping, negative talking about yourself, it's a killer. It's toxic. It's a virus. It's like larvae. It's like worms planting eggs of larvae in your mind that just keep building and growing and growing. It's disgusting. It's literally that bad. It's literally that killing of your soul. It's not the truth. It's not the truth. The only way to know your truth is to speak the truth. If you want to know the truth, you must speak the truth. If you want to know the truth about you, you have to speak the truth. Not the duality, this is good, this is bad, you're here, I'm there, I'm better, I'm worse, I'm not as good as that one, I'm not as bad as that one. This whole comparison, it has to be the truth. Who is your highest self-concept? What's the highest part of you? What's the real part of you? And you talk from that place, and you speak to that, and know that this is a result of what you're speaking. This is not a result of who you are. This is a result. Your life is a result. Your health is a result. Who you're hanging out with is a result. This is the plane of effect. This is not the plane of cause. The plane of cause is thought, is being. Therefore, when we want this to change, we have to change the cause. The real cause, it has to be a language. It has to be language, internal language. There needs to be a birthing of a language that is in alignment with who you want to be. What language do you need to speak to be happy? What language do you need to speak if you want to be successful? What language do you need to speak if you want more love in your life? It's there. Those are the tapes we play. We are the thinker, we're not the thoughts. We have thoughts. The thoughts are meant to be our slave. Instead, we're the slave to our thoughts. Feeling the victim of negative emotions, feeling the victim of self-criticism. We punish, we kill, we destroy every bit of joy by saying, I'm not good enough, I can't do it. Look at me, I'm fat, she looks better. This is never gonna work, I'm too old, I'm too skinny. That's too hard. And it's like destroy, destroy, destroy. And then we wonder why we're depressed and overeating and doing drugs and trying to work out too much and dating the wrong people, and right? Because how can you find thoughts of love when you're in a negative state? So if you focus on, how do I change my perception of this reality? How do I change it? It's literally just consciously choosing. I feel terrible, I feel depressed, I feel it, acknowledge it, don't hate it, acknowledge it, accept. I accept that if I made myself feel depressed, then I have the power to make myself I've made myself unhealthy, I have then the power to make myself healthy. And nobody can save me. Nobody. Nobody can help me get there. Because I have to do the work. It doesn't matter how many amazing books, doesn't matter how many amazing teachers, it doesn't matter what pill they decide to give you, it doesn't matter what diet they give you, it doesn't matter anything. If your attitude is negative, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. Don't you know I'm not a good person? It's not going to work. Then it's not going to work. But if you have a good attitude, if you find some way to look for what's right, if you have your intention in your heart and you know you want to be love, you want to give love, you want to express love, you say, I will find a way. I will find a way. You'll find a way. You can take a negative situation with a positive mental attitude and turn that around. You take a positive situation with a negative mental attitude, you destroy it. You take a negative situation with a positive mental attitude, you can turn that into gold. And it's all determined by the language, our self-concept, how we speak to ourselves. And that's under our control. And it's got to be moment by moment by moment. You've got to be vigilant, you've got to be strong, you've got to train. And the only way you'll really allow yourself to do that is you have to have the dream. What's really important to you. It should be very loud, it should be very bright, and it should call you every day to stand up and make a new decision about who you're going to be. Because without that dream, you're stuck in, I don't want to be this, I don't want to be that, I don't want to be this, I don't want to be that, I don't want to be this. But when you have a dream, and you say, I am that, I am that, I am that, I am that, then you start birthing all of the pieces of you that are now coming alive to represent that new self-concept. So bring your hands to your heart, take a big deep breath in. Whether you think of your statement from the first night, whether think of a new one, the one that I chose the first night was simply, I am. Take a big deep breath in and hold it. Close your eyes, get into your heart, get into the healing space, create complete silence within you, and exhale. Big deep breath in. Say mentally your I am statement to you 3 times. Exhale. Bring your hands and adjust your gratitude. Seal it in. You are the master of your fate. Seize this day.